Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all the praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahushai Ba'ashem, Baruch HaKodash. Double honors to the elder apostles of the great millstone who rule well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to all the fellow laborers of the hope for the tabernacle of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Now, in this lesson, I just want to go into the wicked history of the Herodian dynasty. And, just recently, we've dealt with the topic of Apostle Paul and his dialogue with Agrippa II, because that's who these Christians and dudes like vocab try to use to say that Edomites can actually be saved. And I guess there's some type of gateway to the salvation of Esau, and they usually use Apostle Paul. It's interesting because this same apostle, he's seen as quoted Malachi 1, where the Heavenly Father himself literally says that he hates Esau. He also said through Apostle Timothy, Saint Timothy, that Esau is a fornicator and a profane person. So him saying that, how could you still be confused as to whether he believes that an Edomite can be saved? And then lining that up with their corrupted, wicked history. And I'm talking about the Herodians, which Agrippa was a part of that family line. All right. Now the scriptures say this. Let me go to Isaiah 26 real quick. Let's see what the prophecies say. Actually, I got two precepts. Well, let me get this one in Isaiah 26 and verse 10. It is Isaiah 26 verse 10. It says, "Let favor be shewed to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. In the land of uprightness will he deal unjustly, and will not behold the majesty of the Lord." And when you apply that towards the Herodian dynasty, they definitely fit the bill of this verse. All right, because they were showed favor. The Lord gave them the kingdom of Judea under the Roman Empire. But these were a family of Edomites that whose forefathers converted, to keeping the commandments, the law. All right, they were Judaized, so to speak, by John Hyrcanus, which was the last of the Hasmonean dynasty, and they married in, to that dynasty, and the Herodians found favor, and the Romans put them up. So favor was showed to that wicked line, and they didn't learn righteousness, even though they came, right into, that power. All right, they knew the law, they knew the Torah, but as you can see with the acts that were committed by them when they were on the throne, they really wasn't righteous at all, because they're the wicked. They're the scriptures say that Esau will be the border of wickedness. All right, and in the land of uprightness, all right, which is the Holy Land, will he deal unjustly. All right, a few a few men of the Lord were martyred because of them. All right, they dealt out unjust judgment, and you're gonna see this. It says, "And will not behold the majesty of the Lord." All right. One of those Herodians didn't give glory to the Lord. He made a big speech, and those people in Tyre, they start to act like, this man was was the Most High. Well, he got the voice of a God, and he liked all the praise he was receiving, and he didn't give none of the glory to the Most High. And what happened? So, this is one verse that comes to mind, and then let's get Psalms 50, because here it is. You call yourself a Jew, all right? You know the law, but you damn sure wasn't keeping the law. Psalms 50 and 16, it says, "But unto the wicked the Most High said, What hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth? Seeing thou hatest instruction and castest my words behind thee." Okay, so you get into to the history, you get into the family tree of the Herodians. They were wicked as all hell, but yet they were kings over us. Now here's the family tree of Herod the Great, which we all know his role. All right, we know what he did. All right, this is the same Herod that tried to have the Messiah whacked off when he was a baby, and had a lot of Israelite babies put to death that was 2 years old and younger. All right, and he was in fear that the Messiah, was born. All right, so Apostle Paul would try to save a member of this wicked, evil family. That's what these Christians would have you believe. All right, so you could see he had multiple wives, and he had a wicked litter. All right, Antipater, Alexander, Aristobulus. You had Herod Philip the First, and this is the same Herod that when he married Herodias, um, his own brother Herod Antipas pretty much took Herodias from Herod Philip the First, and that was what John the Baptist actually saw when he was arrested, and because he pointed that out, Herod, got angry, Antipas, and placed him in prison. Right? We know that history, and and Herodias pleased Herod Antipas after John reproved him of taking his brother's wife, which is adultery. Matter of fact, let's get that, which actually shows that these scriptures that I read applies to them, because you're supposed to know the law. You king of Judea, right? So you in the eyes of the Romans and all that, you're a practicing Jew. But yet, when somebody reproves you on the breaking of a law, you want to put him to death because they're the wicked. Let's get what scripture was it? Mark's. Let's go to Mark 6:17. It is Mark 6, and I'll start at 16. It says, "But when Herod heard thereof, he said, It is John, whom I beheaded. He is risen from the dead. For Herod himself had sent forth and laid hold upon John, and bound him in prison for Herodias' sake, his brother Philip's wife, for he had married her. For John had said unto Herod, It is not lawful for thee to have thy brother's wife." Why? Because that's adultery. But Herod Antipas did not give a shit, because he's the wicked. Okay. Therefore, Herodias had a quarrel against him. So this bitch, this shameless bitch, who was clearly in violation of the law, or who was worthy of death, she had a beef with him because he pointed out their wickedness. All right, the scripture says, "Such as a adulterous woman, she eateth and wipeth her mouth and saith, I have done no wickedness." That was Herodias. All right. and would have killed him, but she could not. For Herod feared John, knowing that he was a just man and holy, and observed him. And when he heard him, he did many things, and heard him gladly. And when a convenient day was come that Herod on his birthday made a supper to his lords, high captains and chief estates of Galilee, and when the daughter of the said Herodias came in and danced and pleased Herod and them that sat with them. So he was probably, lusting after, his the, I believe that would be his niece. If that daughter from Herodias came from Philip, his brother, that would be considered his niece. And she came in there and she probably danced all, provocative, and it pleased him. These were sick people, man. All right, but him being mesmerized by that, he fell to his lust, and you know, he found even more favor with his woman. So he's asking her, hey, what's a favor you want done? And it is granted. And them that sat with them, and the king said unto the damsel, ask of me whatsoever thou wilt, and I will give it thee. And he sware unto her, whatsoever thou shalt ask of me, I will give it thee unto the half of my kingdom. And she went forth and said unto her mother, what shall I ask? And she said, the head of John the Baptist. Because he just pointed me out. All right, he called us out, knowing that we worthy of death. Instead of taking accountability for it, I want him dead. See? So these type of things that this family is carrying out, you have a man of the Lord, the cut or a relative to Yahushai, a man that was born of the Holy Spirit, a man who actually was the forerunner of the ministry of Yahushai. You have him gone. You have him beheaded, head chopped off. So this is their history. This is in the track record of the Herodians. And she came in straightway with haste unto the king and asked, saying, I will that thou give me by and by in a charger the head of John the Baptist. And the king was exceeding sorry, yet for his oath's sake, and for their sake which sat with them, he would not reject her. And immediately the king sent an executioner and commanded his head to be brought, and he went and beheaded him in the prison, and brought his head in a charger and gave it to the damsel, and the damsel gave it to her mother. Evil, all because of an adulterous affair. All right. So this is what was going on under this wicked dynasty. They come from a wicked, evil man, Herod the Great. All right. These were the sons of Herod. All right. Now you had Herod Agrippa the first, another evil demon. This is the same Herod who had Apostle Peter locked up in a prison, and he also had James, the brother of John, put to death. So let's go there real quick. But yet there was some room for them to be saved according to vocab. Agrippa the second, Paul, you know, speaking his heart out because he really believed that Agrippa the second can be saved. But yet this is all these different men in that man's family, all his relatives. Let's go to Acts 12. Acts 12 and 1, it says, now about that time Herod the king stretched forth his hands to vex certain of the church, and he killed James the brother of John with the sword. And because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter also. Then were the days of unleavened bread. So this was around the time of the Passover. All right, so they more than likely had James beheaded as well. You see? So, I mean, I can keep going. This is their track record. This is their history. All right. But Apostle Paul, he believed that he wished that they would convert and be saved. This is the line of the wicked. All right. Salvation is far from the wicked, man. You go down, after the angel broke Peter out of the prison and he found out and got angry with the guards and had them put to death. Then the Lord sent an angel to kill his ass because he was proud. Acts 12 and 20. And Herod was highly displeased with them of Tyre and Zidon, and they came with one accord to him, and having made Blastus the king's chamberlain their friend, desired peace because their country was nourished by the king's country. And upon a set day Herod, arrayed in royal apparel, sat upon his throne and made an oration unto them. And the people gave a stout saying, it is the voice of a God and not of a man. Because, you still had heathens up there. You had Jake up there too, but you had heathens. All right. So they more than likely looked at this man, they revered him as some kind of God, you know, or some type of Messiah. It says, and upon a set day, Herod, arrayed in royal apparel, sat upon his throne and made an oration unto them. The people gave a shout, saying, it is the voice of a God and not of a man. And immediately the angel of the Lord smote him, because he gave not the, the Most High power to glory, and he was eating up worms and gave up the ghost. So Esau always tried to exalt himself on the level of a God, even to this very day. All right, you listen to the likes of that demon, that sodomite, who was he's pretty much like the priest and prophet of the World Economic Forum, uh, uh, Yuval Harari, Noah Harari. All right, and the shit that he talks, they think that they're on the level of the Most High, and it tells you that. See, all these scriptures that we quote by that was written by Apostle Paul and these epistles, we apply it to these Edomites. How dare you think that he wouldn't condemn the Edomites when a lot of his writings and even some of the prophecies he quoted were definitely condemning Esau? Like, what Bible are you reading? He exalted himself above all that is called God, and sit in the seat of the Most High, in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is God. That was what Herod did. All right, that was what uh, 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 Antiochus Epiphanes did. Okay, it says, but the word of the Most High grew and multiplied. All right, so another example, okay, of nothing but crime written all through that family. All right, and degeneracy. All right, so this Herod Agrippa, all right, the first who had James beheaded, put to death, and Peter locked up, and then he had Agrippa the second, right? Also Berenice, the sister to Agrippa the second. Now, this is what I want to get into, since vocab is he's hard bent on using the argument of Apostle Paul, basically flattering Herod Agrippa, who was the king over Judea at the time when he was going through his trial. All right, and he was using wisdom and was trying to pacify him so that he can be granted, you know, um, mercy and seek pardon from him. That way he put in a good word to Caesar. But you know, them not thinking that Paul was using wisdom, really believed that he really had some secret place in his heart for this devil. But let's see what this devil was involved with. Now let's go into him. All right. Now you see the heading, and this is what I wanted to bring out: incest of Agrippa II and Berenice. This is his sister. All right. This is secular history, and it's even recorded in the Antiquities of the Jews by Josephus. All right. So I'm gonna read some of this to show you how corrupted this dude and his sister was. It says Agrippa Jr. and his sister Berenice were two of the five children born to Agrippa the first and his wife Cypros. Their father, though inheritor of Herod's throne, was a wastrel who dragged his family all over the Middle East from pillar to post trying to escape his debtors. The men in the Herod dynasty were all descendants from Herod the Great, the Idumean Arab, which he wasn't an Ishmaelite, he was an Edomite, who was in who was the first Roman appointed king over the Jews in Jerusalem and is famous for trying to kill Yahushai in the slaughter of the innocents. All right. Agrippa and Berenice's childhood was filled with instability, and they inherited the bad blood seen in all of Herod the Great's descendants. Yeah, man, that was a straight up line of depraved, degenerate, ungodly children, man, because they were Edomites. Okay, they're naturally wicked as part of their nature. That's why Apostle Paul said what he said: "Lest there be any fornicator, Slakia, fornicator or profane person as Esau." Okay, that's what he described them as, and that's exactly what they were. They were very profane. They were godless, ungodly. All right, it says Agrippa II and Berenice, yeah, spent years of their childhood and most of their adult life in Rome, where all Roman client kings, like their father Agrippa I, sent their royal children to be educated. Thus, the two siblings, Herod the Great's great grandchildren, were Romanized and began an incestuous relationship, even though Berenice was politically married off occasionally to several small kingdoms' kings. So she was married off multiple times. So she was, broken through. She was a young whore. All right, because you're supposed to, when she's young like that, she's a virgin. She's not to be married off multiple times. But did they care? Show favor unto the wicked, yet they would not learn righteousness. Is that she had three husbands. The first when she was 13. All right, showing you that they married young back then. The three marriages all ended by the age of 22. She was single again. Berenice and Agrippa lived together in Rome, and soon it was rumored they were incestuous. Not much shocked the Romans, but this was prohibited in all the laws of the ancient world, especially in our law. All right, let's go to the law on that. You're not supposed to lay with your own sister. Leviticus 18 and verse 4 says, "You shall do my judgments and keep my ordinances to walk therein. I am the Lord your power. You shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. I am the Lord. None of you shall approach to any that is near of kin to him to uncover their nakedness. I am the Lord." All right, and then it goes into all these different ancestral relationships that are prohibited, forbidden. Let's go to verse 9, and this is where Agrippa II and Berenice was in violation. Verse 9, "The nakedness of thy sister, the daughter of thy father." All right, and who was their father? Agrippa the first. All right, it says, "The nakedness of thy sister, the daughter of thy father, or daughter of thy mother, whether she be born at home or born abroad, even their nakedness thou shalt not uncover." Okay, because that's wickedness. Okay, verse 11, "The nakedness of thy father's wife's daughter, begotten of thy father, she is thy sister. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's sister. She is thy father's near kinswoman going into your auntie. All right, so you're not supposed to uncover the nakedness of your brother. All right, your father's son, and if you're a man, you're not supposed to uncover the nakedness of your father's daughter, because that is your sister, your biological sister, and that is sick. But this is what was going on, all right, behind closed doors between Agrippa II and Berenice. All right. So continuing on, it says, not much shocked the Romans, but this was prohibited in all the laws of the ancient world. One could marry a close relative like an uncle, aunt, or first cousin, but never a brother or a sister. And that depends. If it's on your father's side, you couldn't, but if on your mother's side, that was all right. All right. And yeah, you can your niece, I believe who was that? I think it was Othniel. He took on um I think he took on Caleb's daughter, if I'm not mistaken. And I believe he was I got to go back over the history, but I believe he was the brother to Caleb, if I'm not mistaken. All right, or his nephew. I'm not too sure. I got to go back and revisit that history. All right, but that's an example. It says that was a anathema, meaning a cursed thing. Agrippa's contemporary, the Roman Juvenal, and in Satire 6 made open fun of Agrippa and Berenice and of Jewish customs. A diamond of great renown made precious by the finger of Berenice. So he's scoffing them. It was given as a present by the barbarian Agrippa to his incestuous sister in that country, Judea, where kings celebrate uh, festal Sabbaths with bare feet, and where a long established clemency suffers pigs to attain old age. In order to escape this rumored truth, Berenice contracted her third marriage in 50 AD with Ptolemy, king of Cilicia in modern Turkey. So she went and married off with another dude to try to escape from, that stigma, so to speak. That was traveling around. Says Ptolemy did not want the marriage, but was persuaded by a great deal of money. When the report went that she had criminal conversation with her brother Agrippa, Berenice persuaded Ptolemy, who was king of Cilicia, to be circumcised and to marry her. I would have never. Are you crazy? You land with your brother. I'm not touching you. But he worshipped Mammon and pretty much fell to that bride to marry this nasty whore. As supposing that by this means she should prove those calumnies upon her to be false. And Ptolemy was prevailed upon, and that chiefly on account of her riches. Yet did not this matrimony endure long. It definitely wasn't going to last long. But Berenice left Ptolemy and was said with licentious intentions. Because once you lay with that many men at that point, you're not going to pair bond with nobody. All right, she was there was basically she was infested. She had all type of spirits on her, man. She was done. Josephus Antiquities, uh, uh, 27:3, she went back to her brother Agrippa. As Berenice and Agrippa were living their Roman-like lives in the early 50s AD, the Christian movement was sprouting right under their noses. All right. Let me jump down now, and let's get to the time of Apostle Paul. And it says, 10 years had passed since Paul and Berenice, Agrippa's sister, were in Cilicia during her brief marriage to Ptolemy, king of Cilicia. It is sure that they never met at that time, but they would meet several days after Paul had been calumniated before Festus by the Jerusalem priest. And you could read that in Acts the 24th chapter. Berenice was now 32 and her brother lover Agrippa was 33. The two arrived in Caesarea to kindle the relationship between Agrippa, who oversaw the temple in Jerusalem for Rome, and the new Roman procurator, manager, overseer, Festus. Paul is to undergo another trial before Festus, Agrippa, and Berenice, where he would plead his case for Hamashiach, which the Jews in Jerusalem opposed. In the audience room that day were high-ranking military officers, prominent men of the city, along with Paul. Festus, Berenice, and Agrippa, who told Festus he would like to hear this Paul himself. Okay. And it says, at the command of Festus, Paul was brought in. Festus said, King Agrippa, and all who are present with us, you see this man. The whole Jewish community has petitioned me about him in Jerusalem and here in Caesarea, shouting that he ought not to live any longer. I found he had done nothing deserving of death, but because he made his appeal to Emperor Nero, which he was a demon, all right, and he was the one that did the ring of fire to have the Christians persecuted. He started that fire and blamed it on us, following Yahweh Shai, man. But this is who he had to appeal to, right? So Paul had to use wisdom. I decided to send him to Rome, but I have nothing definite to write to his majesty about him. Therefore, I have brought him before all of you, and especially before you, King Agrippa, so that as a result of this investigation, I may have something to write. Okay, so just, hey, Paul was blameless. Okay, so he found no real fault to persecute him. So he like, this is out of my hands. This is in your hands. All right. For I think it is unreasonable to send a prisoner on to Rome without specifying the charges against him. All right. And then Agrippa gave him permission to speak for himself, and that's when he made his plea. Okay. And that's Acts the 26th chapter. Now it makes sense because who came in with him to this court trial? So let's go to Acts 26 real quick. It's Acts 26, and let me jump down. Because even the Bible gives the account of that particular day when he came to court. And we're going to see who actually pulled up alongside with him. Here we go. Acts 26 and 30. And when he had thus spoken, the king rose up, and the governor and Berenice, or Bernice, and they sat with them. All right. So she was present. The Bible gives that account, and secular history gives that account. So he was damn sure with his own sister, who was his lover, in an incestuous relationship with his own sister, and they both are at this court. Now, Apostle Paul might not have even known that that was going on, but I'm sure if he knew that that was going on, he damn sure wouldn't have made that statement. But I speak as a man. I could be wrong. If Apostle Paul actually did know what was going on, but still spoke these things to Agrippa, we know that he definitely was using guile, because at the end of the day, this is who he had to appeal to, because he still had to you know he still had to be granted by the emperor, the Caesar. You see, so if Paul did actually in fact knew that this was going on, he was using flattery. He knows that these people are wicked, because he himself said, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau. That was straight up fornication, man. Fornicating with his own sister. So you really think that Paul would really try to save these devils? But this was going on as Paul was said what he said to them. So knowing all this, why would you still try to make an argument for them through this situation? Why would you still try to use Agrippa? Your argument loses a lot of credibility now. Now that we know this history, you can no longer try to use Agrippa. So there you have it, man. So we know that Paul definitely was not trying to save no Edomite. He was just using wisdom in this moment. Because at the end of the day, it worked in his favor. And he was able to go back out and freely teach until he was martyred. So I think we should I think we can now, put this to rest, man, this whole Agrippa thing. All right. That whole dynasty was a wicked, evil dynasty. All right. The Lord wasn't gonna save any of them. They were the devil. And this was not the last line of Edomites as well. Because they're still here and they still doing the same things. All right. So anyway, I just wanted to go into that. The spirit just got, hopped on me to go into that history. Yeah, I could read it for yourself, and I'll definitely put this link in the description box. All right, and it's also good to study, a lot of these dynasties, the timelines in the history, go into the secular history, and get this information, man, and you see how accurate the Bible actually is. All right, so I'm gonna close it right there. I'm gonna give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shem Shai, and to the next lesson, Shalom.